Hey guys, I'm back with another video. Before this one begins, I'd just like to tell you guys about something. Maybe you know, or maybe you don't know, ever since I've been doing YouTube since March of 2014, a little over 10 years now, I have never actually taken a branding deal, a partnership, a sponsorship, or any affiliation with any company or individual of any kind. This was mainly because if I was going to be affiliated with someone or advertise something, I wanted to personally believe in it myself. I'm just picky like that, you know? I'm actually not getting paid to say any of this right now, which is totally fine. But anyway, I wanted to advertise a business to you guys today for the first time, simply because I feel like they truly do deserve it and I believe in them. I'm talking about OSRSBricks. It's a business fueled by passion, ran by 3 gentlemen who are really great guys and really good at what they do. They combine old school RuneScape with official LEGO bricks to create some really crazy models from the game, and they have even been recognized multiple times by Jagex themselves within Twitter posts and official live streams. At OSRSBricks.com, you can purchase ready-to-build sets that use genuine LEGO bricks, and some of the products include a 721-piece Slayer helmet, or maybe you'd like to get a monster from RuneScape and add it to your gaming setup, like this 281-piece Mini Vorkath pet, or this 783-piece Jad. Or maybe you'd like to get a whole scene, like this Barrows model here. Or if you're more into skilling than PVM, there's also reasonably priced skilling scenes too, if you've got a favorite skill. There's lower priced products as well, and always all kinds of deals and sales going on at OSRSBricks.com, as well as product giveaways. Just 2 months ago, this giant King Black Dragon set was given away as well. I'll leave OSRSBricks social media information and website down in the description for you all. Thank you for hearing me out on my very first advertisement. Go give them some love, guys. They really do deserve it. Anyway, without further delay, here is 19 more minutes of useless RuneScape information. Enjoy, guys. So, I'm curious about how many of you out there actually play with the game sounds turned on. I saw a post on Twitter a while back of a player discussing the game sounds, stating that they could count on one hand how many times they've ever actually used them. I play with the game sounds on a lot, but just not the music most of the time. Anyway, for those that don't use the game sounds, here's something quite useless to know. Most equipping sounds when you wear something in RuneScape are usually the same. This is also true for almost all of the holiday event items as well. One exception to this, though, is the jack-o'-lantern mask. When you equip the pumpkin helmet, it makes this sound. On top of the Warriors Guild, there's actually an odd amount of statues on the roof that aren't placed symmetrically at all, and it really bugs me. There's 11 statues in all, 3 different kinds in total. In front, there's a statue of a king. The other 2 alternating statues are knights holding a battle axe and a 2-hander sword. The Warriors Guild itself was released in June of 2006, and this was back when RuneScape's camera functions and draw distances was very limited. The only way you would have seen these statues on the roof back in those days was if you were killing trolls on the mountain north of Burthorpe. Speaking of the trolls to the north, I'm sure everyone at one point in time has been killed by the thrower trolls that attack you on sight on your way up the mountain. A couple things some players might not know about these trolls is that their attacks will always be successful when they throw rocks at you, and their max hit is 9. Due to them all attacking you at once, this makes them quite deadly at lower levels. However, if you use a Natus Knot shield that you get from the Fremennik Isles quest while passing them, it will reduce their max hits to only 2 instead, making the area where they attack you much more manageable to cross. So, for some reason, ever since RuneScape 2 released in 2004, there has always been a gate winch at the top of the 2 towers in front of Lumbridge Castle that the player can interact with, but it doesn't do anything when you try to operate it. You just received the chat message, "It seems like the winch is jammed. I can't move it." Do you guys remember how people used to close the castle doors on everyone back in the day? Imagine if you could shut the gate to the castle back then as well and just trap all the new players inside. That would have been hilarious. Also, there's beer up here. So, if you head to Old School RuneScape's game page on Steam, you'll see the main trailer that advertises the game.
I'm the wise old man, and I'm here today to tell you all about the wonderful world of Old School RuneScape.
Since I don't play RuneScape through Steam, I had actually never seen this trailer. It's pretty well done and is very newcomer friendly in its design. One thing you'll notice is that the Old School RuneScape Steam trailer takes place within the Blue Moon Inn in Varrock. So how many of you guys know what the item Flatpack is? You probably already know what this item is, but just didn't know that it was called Flatpack. Anyway, Flatpacks are pre-packaged furniture that can be built with the construction skill on a workbench in your player-owned house. Flatpacks allow players to install the furniture inside their player-owned house without the necessary level required to build the furniture from scratch. Something I never noticed about these items is that if you look at them closely, you can see an image of what object they represent on their model and item sprite. Almost all of the buildable objects from the originally developed rooms for the construction skill can be turned into flat packs. However, within the study room, the room in which you would build telescopes, crystal balls, lecterns, and globes, cannot have their own buildable objects be turned into flat packs. They can't be turned into them, but their cache object models still exist within the game's files, though all of them are completely unobtainable. I've always been obsessed with examining things in this game ever since I was a kid. RuneScape has a lot of funny examine texts. This really speaks for itself, so I'm going to just read a bunch of them that I found humorous. Let me know if you guys know any good ones as well. Examining the head chef in the cooking guild says, "Despite his name, rarely actually cooks heads." Examining a skeleton in Drainer Manor says, "I don't understand. Why didn't he just go back to Lumbridge?" Examining the stepping stone at the Wilderness Agility course says, "Hop, hop, hippity hop, and then you fall into molten lava." On the Canifis Rooftop Agility course, you can examine a jump and it will say, "Less examiny, more jumpy." Down in the Brimhaven Agility Arena, if you examine the monkey bars, it says, "Now I'm the king of the swingers, oh, the jungle VIP," which is a reference to the monkey song in the movie The Jungle Book. South of Callisto's area in the wilderness near the trees, you can find bear droppings. Examining them says, "Now you know," which is a reference to the phrase, "Does a bear shit in the woods?" Also, if you examine these items in this exact order, you get these messages in your chat box. I'll just let you guys read that one. There's so many more. This could probably be a video all on its own, honestly. On the northwestern side of the wilderness volcano, you can spot a wrecked ship that is apparently made of metal, with what seems to be a strange cannon on top. However, it has no use other than for scenery. This ship, along with the volcano, was released into the game on April 24th, 2006. Burnt skeletons litter the area, and it's implied that they fled the crashed ship, only to be killed by the volcano afterwards. One of the examined texts for these skeletons reads, "A victim of war, looks like he's been dead for a while now." Within RuneScape's lore, the wilderness is actually associated heavily with the God Wars. Perhaps this strange ship and its crew may have taken part in a notable event from Gillenor's past. Next to the ship is an extension of land in which the furthest square is level 56 wilderness, the deepest level that any player can get to. During the Zogre Flesh Eater's quest, you must create a portrait of a wizard named Sithik Ince, who resides upstairs in the guest house in Yanil, north of the Wizards Guild. To do this, you must use a piece of papyrus on Sithik Ince with a piece of charcoal in your inventory. However, what a lot of players were unaware of is that you can fail making a portrait of Sithik. The only way to know if you have failed is by examining the portrait you make of him, as both the successful and failed portrait have the same item name, simply being Sithik Portrait. If it is a realistic portrait, its examine information will say, "A classic realist charcoal portrait of Sithik." And if you unfortunately make an unrealistic portrait, its examined information will say, a semi-nihilistic, pseudo-impressionistic, half-squarish charcoal sketch of Scythic. Which is a mouthful, wow. One player named Jarg from Twitter back in 2014 thought this was a bug, and that they weren't going to be able to complete the Zogre Flesh Eater's quest. Mote actually responded, explaining to him about the success and failure rates of getting a good portrait, stating that the game was apparently doing a random roll on the player's crafting level, which he also said was odd. Upon digging further, Mote stated that the original unnamed developer of that quest, which released in 2005, had written the chances of success to be a 1 out of a 255 possibility that they would receive a successful portrait if they had level 1 in the crafting skill, which I think was just the ultimate troll. If you'd like to know the actual success rates for each crafting level, here it is. So, the Fremennik province was released into RuneScape 2 on November 2nd, 2004, which was only 8 months after RuneScape 2 officially released. Upon release, since the Fremennik province didn't exist yet, the bridge west of the Sinclair mansion was actually broken in half, preventing players from going over it and seeing what was on the other side. If you guys ever experienced this yourselves and wondered what was actually across the broken bridge during this time, here's what was over there at the time. So, unless you guys have ever messed around with the Oculus Orb or the detached camera plugin on RuneLite, you may not have ever noticed that the party room has always had a hole in its roof ever since RuneScape 2 was released, even back when the party room resided in Sears Village. I believe the building is like this due to the table inside that the knights can dance on top of. The table is a level up from the ground floor, but it's not exactly a real upstairs level, as you would still be able to see other players if they got on top of the table by no-clipping. I think the roof, for some reason, must have a hole in it for this to be possible. It would also explain why the upstairs room is also carved out into a balcony as well. This hole in the roof of the party room also exists in RuneScape 3. For some reason, when RuneScape 2 released in 2004, there used to be a very long ditch that extended from Port Sarim all the way to Remington. I have vague memories when I was a kid about getting lost in this area and trying to find someone to take me back to Lumbridge. I remember not wanting to leave my ditch of safety as I heard about the wilderness where others can attack you, and I thought that because I was in a forest setting, that I was getting closer and closer to this mysterious wilderness. This ditch was removed sometime between September 19th to the 26th of 2005. So, if you've completed the Dream Mentor quest, you'll be able to cast the Lunar Spellbook spell called Dream. While your player is dreaming, your hit points will restore 3 times faster than normal, or 3 hit points per minute. However, if you manage to get the 1 out of a 2,000 chance item drop called the Jar of Dreams from the level 814 Nightmare boss, and cast the lunar spell Dream with it in your inventory, this happens. It's actually possible to obtain members' items in non-member worlds. Jagex has fixed a lot of these methods over the years, but there's still one today that they still haven't fixed. If you go to Lumbridge Swamp and use a knife on a spiny bush, in a non-member's world, you'll receive the item Branch, and it will show up as a member's item in your inventory. Examining the item tells you to log into a member server to use it. The item itself is used within the Temple Trekking minigame. So, during the quest My Arm's Big Adventure, there's a part during the quest where you can ask the young troll if other people think his name, My Arm, is silly for a name. He will say, and forgive the troll grammar here, "Well, I seen worse. Most humans come through here, they got names with like all numbers and things what aren't even words." He will then follow this statement up and reference the last player's username that actually did the quest right before you. If you look at this dialogue list, you can see the 3 options, 2 of which use a specific code to recall the previous player that did the quest before you. He will either reference a man or a woman, depending on the previous player's gender. This can lead to some pretty funny screenshots. There is also an option where he doesn't reference any player at all and only says his first line of dialogue, probably for when the servers reset and someone becomes the very first person to do the quest again. So this one I actually just found out about before I made this video, and I decided to throw it in. Did you guys know that you can literally reforge pizzas in RuneScape? Because I didn't. If you use one half of a pizza on another half, they'll make a whole pizza again. So, do you guys remember the free potion that the Apothecary gives you that supposedly helps to clear up spots? Well, this potion, which is simply just named Potion, has been in the game since RuneScape Classic in 2001. The only use it's ever had was that it was a possible item request when doing the quest Forgettable Tale of a Drunken Dwarf. Other than that, it was always useless until the 27th of April in 2022, 21 years later, when the quest Beneath Cursed Sands released. Now, before you've completed the Beneath Cursed Sands quest, you can actually take this once useless potion to Sophonem and start using it on the citizens there that have bad cases of acne. And you will get some pretty funny dialogue for each NPC you use it on, because they will all refuse to use it. For example, when using the potion on the priest at the front gate, he will say,
Hey. What in the name of sweet suffering Ecthlerin are you doing?
You will say, I thought this acne potion might clear up your spots. He'll say,
all that you'll achieve by pouring that potion on me is to ruin my lovely robes.
You will finally say, sorry, I was just trying to help. Truly, this potion is still quite useless indeed though, which means it's in the right video. Also, did you guys know that the bartenders within the Rising Sun Inn in Falador will buy your empty beer glasses off of you for 2 GP each? They will buy them unnoted and noted. And finally, do you guys remember those types of YouTube videos from 15 to 16 years ago that so many people would upload, in which they showed you how to use a hex editor or cheat engine in order to turn your RuneScape money into what was known as Artmoney? It was essentially just hex-edited GP that was client-sided, not server-sided, so if you dropped it or moved it over to an inventory slot, your edited 999 mil coins would just revert back to whatever you had before you edited it. Anyway, I learned about something funny that Jagex used to do to its players that attempted to use a hex editor program to temporarily change their money, stats, or player model. Instead of them receiving their huge, fake, cash stack inventory sprite like they wanted, they would instead receive this trout-looking fish in their inventory in place of their cash. If they right-click this fish, the item would literally be named Hex Edit Detected, and if you examined it, it would have said this: your IP has been logged and passed to customer support. This probably made so many 9-year-olds shit themselves back in the day. This item existed from August 1st, 2005 until it was eventually removed by Jagex on the 7th of February in 2006. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope you are all staying safe out there. I'd really love to give a shout out real quick to my channel members, which is only 3 people right now. I recently just activated channel memberships. I'd like to thank TheAudacity, Grimm, and the G. Thank you guys so much. You guys take care of yourselves. Check out OSRSBricks. They're the nicest people ever, guys. They really do deserve it. And I'll see y'all again soon.